Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about something that's a little bit against the grain for a bankruptcy attorney like myself. I'm going to provide you the #1 alternative to bankruptcy. If you're dealing with serious debt, you don't want to file bankruptcy, or maybe bankruptcy is not an option for whatever reason, I'm going to go over the #1 thing you can do to get yourself out of debt. And more importantly, I'm going to share a couple things as far as non-bankruptcy related debt relief that I don't recommend and I think you should avoid at all costs. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and click subscribe. Check on that little bell. That way you'll be notified each and every day when we put out new videos that'll help you deal with serious debt issues. All right, just a little bit of background. Again, my name is John Skiba. I'm an attorney in the state of Arizona, and I practice in the area of bankruptcy and what I call consumer defense. I help people who are being sued by their creditors. If you need specific legal advice, I recommend contacting me at the information below this video. But in today's video, I actually want to share something with you that's a little bit out of the norm for a bankruptcy attorney. I want to share with you some ways to get rid of debt without using bankruptcy. Don't get me wrong, bankruptcy is a very powerful tool, and in many, many cases, it is something that's absolutely necessary to get that fresh start and to move forward, to keep your creditors at bay and really just get things going again and get them in the rearview mirror. But a lot of times bankruptcy is not an option because maybe your income is too high, or maybe there's assets, or there's other legal issues that make it so that filing bankruptcy is not a good option. And a lot of times when people I meet with in my law practice here in Arizona, they just don't want to file bankruptcy. It's not something that they feel comfortable doing, and so they're looking for other alternatives. And I offer those alternatives. I tell people all the time, bankruptcy is a very serious step. It's something where you need to put a lot of thought into it, and there's some alternatives that you can work through to be able to get rid of the debt without having to go through the bankruptcy process. Before I share with you my #1 advice as far as what I tell people who are trying to get rid of debt without using bankruptcy, I'm going to share with you a couple of different approaches that people take that I don't recommend. The first of those is I do not recommend debt consolidation loans. A lot of people think, look, if I could just put it all into one payment, maybe reduce the interest rate a bit, that's going to be the key to getting out of debt. What I see is a lot of people go out, they get these debt consolidation loans, they take their 6 credit cards, they turn it into one signature loan or something like that, and then they start making payments on that. The issue is, what I often see is that people then, because their credit cards are then paid off, they have open free credit on those credit cards, and they start using them again, and those balances build up slowly over time. And so it ends up being something that was supposed to help you to get out of debt has actually put you into more debt, and that's when people come to see me, and then bankruptcy usually is the end result of something like that. So I don't recommend debt consolidation loans. I don't recommend replacing debt with one form of debt with another debt. I also don't recommend home equity loans or home equity lines of credit to pay off, particularly credit cards. The dangerous thing that people do there when they get those home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs they call them, is what you're doing is you're taking an unsecured debt and transforming it into a secured debt. And what I mean by that is, so credit cards are unsecured. They don't have collateral attached to them. They don't have property attached to them. If you don't pay your credit card, then they are able to go and submit something to the credit bureaus, damage your credit. But until they sue you and get a judgment, they really can't do a whole lot else other than just be annoying. They can't garnish you, they can't take money out of your bank account unless they go through the whole legal process and obtain a judgment. Now, if you get a HELOC, if you get a home equity line of credit or a second mortgage or something like that on your home, pay off the credit cards, and then you start paying those. If you miss the payments on the HELOC or the second mortgage, they have collateral. They're a secured debt. And the way that their remedy, if you stop making payment, is they can then foreclose on your home. They can actually take your home from you for not paying that debt. So I always say, don't ever turn an unsecured debt into a secured debt by taking out a HELOC. And I don't recommend even like signature loans and debt consolidation loans where you're trying to put everything together. Now, the second thing I don't recommend is debt settlement companies. There are some very big national companies that do debt settlement, and it's important to understand because I get it. I get what they're trying to sell and what the relief and the hope that they're providing. It's important to understand really the mechanics of what it is that these debt settlement companies are doing. What they're doing is they're telling you, look, we're going to reach out to your creditors, we're going to negotiate something 20, 30, 40 cents on the dollar, and we're going to save you a ton of money and get this debt behind you. What they do is you start writing this company a check once a month, it goes to them, they take their fee out, and then they put the rest in essentially a savings account or an escrow account so that they can build up a balance high enough that they can then reach out to your creditors and offer some type of proposal. In theory, this makes sense. The problem I see with it, and what I've experienced in over 20 years of doing bankruptcies here in Arizona, is that your creditors are not on board. Sometimes people get the feeling that, yeah, they've talked to my creditors, this is just part of the plan. That's not how it is. The debt settlement company is raising in their escrow account from the money that you're paying them to reach out. And if that process takes a while, the issue you're going to run into is your creditor is all of a sudden not getting payments and they may sue you. So I can't tell you how many times in my law practice where I've had people come in and say, look, I was paying all this money to this debt settlement company and all of a sudden I started getting hit with all these lawsuits. So because of that, I don't recommend debt settlement companies. They're doing something, frankly, you could do yourself by setting that money aside, building up a balance, and then working with your creditors. And also you would have the advantage of dealing with your creditors directly, where you could be on the phone and kind of letting them know what you're doing, that you're trying to get enough funds to set aside to be able to reach out to them and get that done. So for those reasons, I don't recommend consolidation loans, particularly consolidation loans against your house. Again, HELOCs, second mortgages, I don't recommend that. And I don't recommend debt settlement companies. So you may be asking, okay, what else is there other than bankruptcy? This may surprise you a bit coming from a bankruptcy attorney, is I do recommend the Dave Ramsey method. Now, I know this is a little bit controversial, particularly in bankruptcy circles, bankruptcy attorney circles, I should say this, because Dave Ramsey is very much anti-bankruptcy. But I can tell you this, I actually am certified through a certified financial coach through Dave Ramsey's program, and I have not found a better program for dealing with debt outside of the bankruptcy context. Does it have some downsides? Yes. The biggest downside compared to bankruptcy is you're going to pay back your debts probably almost in full, because you are going to work at the debt snowball to be able to get those debts paid back over time. So it's going to take a lot more work. It's going to take a lot more money. Those are the big downsides to it. But as far as being a vehicle or a mechanism or approach to getting rid of debt, I don't think I've seen a better approach than Dave Ramsey's. Now, he does this through his book, The Total Money Makeover, and also through Financial Peace University. I've taught Financial Peace University many times here locally in Arizona. These are great programs that do a couple things. Not only do they help you to get out of debt, but they help to change relationship and understanding of money in general. A lot of times why we get into problems when it comes to debt and money problems is because we don't fully understand how the whole process works. Our relationship with the money was not something that maybe was solidified or healthy, type of habits that we had in growing up. And that has led to the debt problems that we're dealing with now. Financial Peace University, a portion of it, a lot of people don't understand this, only a portion of it is focused on getting rid of debt. The rest of it is on saving, investing, things like insurance, all those types of things that can help you of having a good financial outlook. So that's my number one thing. I'll put a link down in the notes below this video to Financial Peace where you can find about that. It's an online course now. I don't have any affiliation with them, but it's just a good program. And I'll also put a link down there for the Total Money Makeover. I'll never forget, my wife and I read the Total Money Makeover on a 12-hour car ride. I remember we stopped at a gas station in Camp Verde, Arizona, and bought it at the gas station and read it all the way up to Utah. A lot of great information in there. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with a lot of debt and you can't do bankruptcy or you don't want to do bankruptcy, that's my recommendation, is the Dave Ramsey approach, that debt snowball. It's an effective way and a way to change mindset and to get out of debt at the same time. If it is something where you're kind of debating between bankruptcy and that, and you're in the state of Arizona, I do offer a free consultation. You can meet with me personally, and we can go over your situation and see maybe what some of the best options are, both bankruptcy and non-bankruptcy, so that you can weigh the pros and cons and make the best decision for your situation. Even if you're not in the state of Arizona, my information is below. We can connect you with an attorney in your state that does what I do, that can help you to get out of debt once and for all. Thanks for watching today.